Okay, boys and girls, let's have a bit of a discussion. This is going to be pretty casual. I'm not going to really edit it at all, so these are going to be my thoughts about the patch. Please let me know in the comment section if you disagree with some things that I say and why you disagree. But first, let's talk about performance. So, performance this patch, how to sum it up. Dog shit? Might, be a good way. Actually, no, that's probably an insult to dog shit, actually. It is bad. Screwing up the core skills in the game is not a good thing. Block is broken at the moment. Not as much talked about, but dodge roll is broken and buggy. Bar swap is buggy. Now, if these are because of, just lag in general being worse or something, I don't know, but they are noticeably different. Definitely worse, noticeably worse. And there's weird lag going on with dodge roll. You come out of dodge roll, your bars grayed out, you can't, dodge roll vigor, dodge roll. Bar swap is worse than ever. It doesn't go off sometimes, or there's weird lag when it goes off, or and then the CC break. Arguably one of the most important skills in the game is worse than ever. And, these things necessarily wouldn't be as bad as what they are if we weren't in the highest damage meta that we've ever seen in episode. So, you combine all those things into a high damage meta, you basically have a very bad time. Especially for solo players and small scale players and Aussies. Like, this is going to be the worst patch ever for us Aussies. There's no way about that, really. A high damage meta is going to be bad for us, full stop. But then you add these issues on top of it, and all of a sudden it's almost unplayable for us. So, and then the other issues, gear sets not working and stuff like that, which for me personally is a less of an issue. At least it can be fixed. I'd much prefer to see everything else fixed before that. Obviously I want everything fixed, but it's not acceptable, and that's just, there's no other way for it than it is literally unacceptable. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that still defend Xenomax and treat Xenomax like this small indie developer that tries their best, and they're this little team of people that are just working their little hearts and souls out, and they just can't seem to get it right, and but they're trying, they're sticking in there, they're gonna get it right. They're not an indie developer, they're making millions of dollars every month off this game. And there is simply no excuse. Now, I want to be clear that I don't think it's the developer's fault or the actual people that work on this game. I think they generally do try and fix this game, but if they aren't given the time and the resources to actually fix the game, then nothing's going to get done. And one of the main reasons I think that is because, let's be honest, if the higher-ups at Xenomax wanted this game fixed, and after all these years it wasn't fixed, do you think any of those people would have a job? No, they wouldn't. So, they're just doing what they're told, and that's, push out content and push out Crown Store items, and just, get as much money as they can with the least amount of input and money spent on the game. So, that alone, now, if all these things that you fixed, what would my thoughts be on the patch? I think it's still a bad patch. Something that's triggered me about Xenomax for a very long time is they don't do anything in they never do any little changes. It's always freaking massive. We've gone from Greymore, that was, a very tanky, kind of somewhat high damage meta, but, more tanky than anything else, to a completely different game where we had no procs, to flipping the switch again to a meta that is just, damage is insane. Like, you think about that, over a 1 year period, how different the free patches have been. Like, they're not even close to the same game. And, I expect an MMO to change and metas to change. Like, that's something that's enjoyable about an MMO, but these big swings are not good. Consistency, you need consistency in a game, like, to an extent, and there is none in this game. And I think, you know, a big issue there is, you know, the fact that PvP isn't separate from PvE, and I really think that's something they need to do. Keep all the values the same, keep all the set bonuses the same, and keep everything functioning the same so there's no confusion between PvE and PvP, but be able to adjust the values independently from PvE to PvP. This would obviously help a lot with balancing and all that kind of stuff. And so yeah, where was I? So yeah, so Xenomax doesn't really do anything in little parts, and the other problem with that is the fact that, you know, there's not this little gradual changes where, you know, things don't get really out of hand. They make these massive changes, so, you know, without proper testing, and the PTS cycle isn't very good in here, so things happen like this. You know, we get an absolutely awful meta. And, like, I want to talk about health recovery as an example of a bigger issue with ESO. So yeah, something that's, like, obviously annoyed me for a long time now is Xenomax kind of making changes to the game for previous patches. So, like, what I mean by that is the health recovery nerf this patch because health recovery was a big issue last patch. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that health recovery needed to stay the exact same, but health recovery did not need the nerf that it got. I think a soft cap would have been the best way of handling it. If they didn't want to do soft caps, they could have just balanced it out. Now, the way that they nerfed it just screams sheer laziness to me. It just screams that it was a freaking Friday afternoon and they just couldn't be fucked and wanted to get out of the office. And they're like, yep, nah, fuck it, mate. She'll be alright. Just whack a 50% nerf on it. She'll be fine. Yeah, nah, we don't... Nah, fuck it. Don't think about it too much, guys. Don't think about it. It's Friday night. Let's just get the fuck out of here. She'll be fine, you know? We'll just destroy a stat in the game because, you know, we can't be fucked to fix it properly. And that's all it screams to me. And, you know, to be honest, if health recovery went live as it was last patch, it wouldn't be nowhere near as an issue as what it was. And, you know, that's a problem. They shouldn't be doing changes for a previous patch when they're making so many big changes to the current, like the upcoming patch or the current patch, either way you look at it. And just the meta in general at the moment, damage is way too high. Like, when you can nerf it by, say, 30% and it still be probably higher than what it was last patch, you know you've got an issue. Like, when I get guarded and I'm squishier than what I was last patch without guard, you know there's a problem. And a lot of people kind of trying to point at specific sets and specific things that, you know, that's why damage is... It's not really, it's just the meta overall, generally, just in general. And I think, you know, I would have much preferred to see proc sets stay the way they were previously and just not make Malakath work with proc sets. I think that would have been a much better patch because proc sets wouldn't have been such an issue, one, minus Malakath, and two, because stat builds are way stronger than what they used to be. So, you know, we probably would have seen a somewhat decent balance, but I think for me, for this patch to be a good patch, not, you know, not a great patch, but just an okay, good patch, we need health recovery to come back and be one soft capped or just fixed. I think capping health recovery to 4k and then, you know, anything over 4k is nerfed by X amount. Or, you know, 3.5 or 3k health recovery, whatever it may be. Maybe 5k and then a strong nerf up. Whatever, they need to bring that back. And you know, health recovery was a carry for us Aussies. Like, it really was. It was one way that us Aussies could kind of get away around our 300 ping, because, you know, we were always guaranteed that health recovery and that heal. So we've felt it a lot more than what others have felt it. So just keep that in mind. And then I think damage just overall needs to be nerfed by about 10 or 15%. And I think if those two things were done, and obviously all the performance issues were fixed, I think we could have an enjoyable patch. Even nerfing damage by 10-15%, damage is still going to be way up than what it was last patch. And but I think, you know, it could be enjoyable. And I think, you know, small scale players and solo players could kind of work around it. I suppose the other way of looking at it is they could buff healing as well. Maybe a mixture of buffing healing and nerfing damage a little bit might be the way to go. Or, you know, they could maybe buff healing CP or defense CP or something like that. And, you know, like, I know this is kind of going on a side tangent, but this is kind of me venting. I'm talking about CP. The way they've handled CP overall is very triggering to me. Those that watch my streams know that I was not happy when they originally announced the changes, because for me, I should have been a 2.2k CP with the changes, but they devalued my experience, and I was only I think I was 1300 CP. So, you know, and a lot of people, I don't think, understood fully where I was coming from and other people were coming from, because, you know, a lot of people defended Xenomax over it. Now, you know, if it was a 10 or 20% difference, people would have just got over it. I wouldn't have cared. You know, they've done it in the past. But when you're looking at over a 50% devalue on your time and experience in the game, that's not really that cool. Like, that's not cool at all. So, you know, I was somewhat triggered then. So, you know, there's a lot of people, I kind of did for a little bit, farm CP. Luckily, I kind of stopped once I got to 1600 and didn't farm my way to 1800. For those that don't know, 1800 CP was the active combat cap for CP. So basically, once you got to 1800 CP, you were basically max CP. So there was, I know of a lot of people that went out and farmed to 1800 CP, so they were max cap, for Xenomax to turn around the very next patch and nerf that down to 1600. Which is a joke. Like, you can't be changing the rules. And that's another thing, like, changing the rules by the amount that they did is a kick in the nuts in general. So just going from, you know, we've upped the CP cap by 30 every patch, and, you know, we're at 810 to turn around and go 1800 is now the cap. Is changing the rules by that much is kind of just bad. So I think the way that they handled the whole CP system is just a joke in general. And I know a lot of people disagree with me, but, you know, that's my opinion. I'm allowed to have it. So, you know, what would I give this patch out of 10? A 0, probably. This is, for me, anyway, and I know a lot of other people feel this way, this is by far the worst patch for solo PvP or small man PvP. Like, there's not even another patch that compares close to how bad this patch is. And obviously a lot of these things are compounded because I'm Aussie, so everything's made a bit worse. High damage meta's always going to suck for us Aussies and be worse for us. You know, there's a lot of people that are enjoying it. You know, Stam Nightblade mains are kind of having a fun time ripping people's faces off out there. But, you know, if you kind of played that face tank kind of playstyle, that's dead basically this patch. You know, you can't face tank jack shit anymore. And it's kind of a shame. And a lot of people are going to be like, Johnny, it's a fucking large scale PvP game. Like, it's not meant to be based around you solo players or your small scale players. And that's a fair call. But Xenomax has proven throughout the last 6 years, 7 years, that they can have a balance between solo, small man, and Zerg PvP. And if they didn't show that, then we wouldn't be having a bitch about it right now. So just remember that when you go to open your mouth and say that it's a large-scale PvP game. And also remember that their main selling thing, what they like to say all the time, is play the way you want to play. And, you know, at the moment, a lot of people can't play the way they want to play. And it's not, like, I understand from patch to patch that there's going to be small changes and you're going to have to adjust, but this isn't as simple as adjusting. It's you can't do certain things anymore, no matter how you adjust or whatever. You've got to change the way you play. And, you know, it's just not good and it's not fun. So yeah, overall, like, this is just not good. The state of PvP is just not good. I needed to vent, guys. I actually rage quit earlier. Just fucking ended stream and I was done because, you know, my skills, like, literally I could have bashed my head against the keyboard and I would have got the same result because nothing was working. It's the weekend, but it's 10 AM in the morning in EST and the game is not even close to being anything functional. So, you know, I think the next week for me personally is going to be a big make or break time for me. Like, this is the closest I've ever been to quitting ESO. And, you know, we'll have to see. But yeah, my hopes aren't good. Not short term anyway. Long term, I can see some hope. I think when Microsoft finally takes over properly, that we might see some changes, big changes anyway. But in the next 3 months, I can't see things getting that much better. But, you know, Xenomax might surprise me. So, anyway, boys and girls, if you agree, if you disagree, let me know in the comments. You know, a lot of people feel this way, a lot of other people don't, so it'll be interesting to see what you guys have to say down there. Try not to fight too much, kids, alright? And I will see yous next time.